Good morning, class 7. Today we shall start a new chapter in reader Fire, Friend and Foe. Foe means enemy. Children, you must have seen that we need fire in our day-to-day lives. The best example of how we use fire is in the kitchen. Your mothers use fire to cook food. We all need fire to cook food. And in various other ways also, fire is very much essential in our lives. Fire has an important role to play in our lives. But at the same time, if we do not be careful, if we use fire carelessly, then it can be very harmful for us also. It can be fatal. It can lead to death. Thousands of people get affected every year due to incidents that fire broke out in such and such place. Many people get badly injured, badly burnt due to fire. So fire is a friend also if we use it carefully, if we use it properly. But if we are a bit careless, then it can prove as our enemy. It can be our enemy and it can be very disastrous for our lives. Now in this chapter we are going to study the uses of fire and how fire can be harmful at the same time. Let us begin. Fire is both useful and dangerous. What is fire? How did we discover it? How do we control it? Children, in class 6, you must have read that in prehistoric times, man did not know what was fire and he used to hunt animals for his food and he ate them raw. But later on, gradually he realized that he needs to cook food. That is why two stones were rubbed against each other and fire was invented in this way. So now we are going to study how did we discover fire and how do we control it. Fire, friend and foe. Early man didn't know what fire was, but he must have seen the damage it could cause. He must have watched lightning and volcanoes long before he began to use fire himself. Fire was powerful and dangerous, and he was frightened. Early man, when he invented fire, he must have realized, he must have seen how much damage can fire cause, and he must have watched the lightning and volcanoes long before he had started using fire for himself. He realized that fire was powerful and dangerous at the same time, and he was frightened seeing the dangerous consequences of misusing fire. Fire may have puzzled early man, but we now know that fire is the result of a chemical reaction. When the oxygen in the air combines with carbon and hydrogen in a fuel, a chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released in this process. This is what we call fire. So the writer has explained in scientific terms how fire is created. I am reading once again. When the oxygen in the air combines with carbon and hydrogen in a fuel. Children, you must be knowing, maybe you are aware that we need oxygen for burning of fire. If you burn a candle and you try to cover the burning candle with a glass. Today you can do this experiment at home. You light a candle and while the candle is burning, you try to put the glass over the candle. What will happen? The candle will burn out immediately. That means it will not burn anymore. Why? Because the supply of oxygen due to the putting of glass over the candle has been cut off. So for burning, oxygen is is a very important component. If oxygen supply is cut off, then anything will not burn. So it is written, when the oxygen in the air combines with carbon and hydrogen in a fuel, a chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released in this process. Heat is also released when fire burns, and light is emitted when fire burns. This is what we call fire. Three things are needed to make fire. Three important components are required for fire to burn. First is fuel. We need fuel for fire to burn. Second is oxygen. And third is heat. Underline this line. Three things are needed to make fire: fuel, oxygen, and heat. Wood, coal, cooking gas, and petrol are some examples of fuel. Underline. By fuel, what do we mean? Fuel includes wood, coal, cooking gas, and petrol. These are some examples of fuel. Any one fuel is needed for fire to burn. Oxygen comes from the air. In the air, in the atmosphere, in the air, we have oxygen, we breathe oxygen, so that same oxygen is needed for fire to burn. That is why when you blow on a smoldering paper, see the meaning of smoldering is given here, burning slowly without flame. If you burn a paper and it is allowed to burn slowly and you don't see high flames rising up, it often bursts into flame. When you blow on a moldering paper, that means if a paper is burning slowly and if you blow on that paper, then what will happen? Flames will start bursting out. You will immediately see flames which were not visible earlier. Flames will start bursting out. Why? Because of the supply of oxygen. The third thing needed to make fire is heat. Keep on underlining, all these lines are very important. The third thing required is heat. Fuel and oxygen do not make fire by themselves, or else a newspaper or a stick lying in the open would catch fire on its own. To burn a piece of paper or wood, we heat it before it catches fire. We generally do it with a lighted match. That means the writer is trying to say that heat is the third essential component for fire to burn. If you put some fuel outside your home, and you put a piece of paper and a piece of paper or wood outside in the open, will it start burning on its own? No, it will not start burning on its own. It needs heat. Firstly, the fuel is present. Secondly, oxygen is present, which is there in the air. Thirdly, you need heat if you want to burn wood or you want to burn paper or any other thing. Now, how does heat come? If you take a matchbox and you take out a matchstick, if suppose you are holding a matchbox in your left hand and a matchstick in the right hand, then you will rub the matchstick against the matchbox. That creates heat, and as you rub, fire will be created. Then you can burn the piece of wood or paper. We heat it before it catches fire. We generally do it with a lighted match. Every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. Underline this. Every fuel, that means wood, coal, cooking gas, petrol, all burn at different temperatures. They need a specific temperature for burning. This temperature is called the flash point or kindling temperature of the fuel. Kindling means to burn. Kindle means to burn. Kindling means burning. So in order to burn, different fuels need a specific temperature. All fuels don't burn at the same temperature. Different fuels need different temperature for burning. This temperature at which the fuels burn is called as flash point or kindling temperature of the fuel. Underline till fuel. It is sometimes said that fire is a good servant but a bad master. Yes, obviously, fire is a good servant but a bad master. That means if we use fire intelligently, then it can prove very helpful to us, and it can be like our servant. Like our servants serve us, they fulfill all our wishes. In the same way, fire will also satisfy us by helping us in doing all our work. But if we misuse fire, if we be careless while using fire, then it is going to certainly be a bad master. A master can beat a servant if he is not working well. A master can cause harm to the servant if he is not working well. So in the same way, if we don't be careful with fire, then fire can also harm us. It only means that fire is very useful as long as it is kept under control. We should have full control over fire. We should know what we should do, what we should not do while fire is burning, so that we don't cause any harm to ourselves or to others. For instance, we use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter, and to generate electricity. Underline, these are the three uses of fire which are mentioned in this paragraph. Firstly, we use fire to cook food. Secondly, warm our homes in winter season. And thirdly, to generate electricity. But on the other hand, if fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. Especially in the summer season, the cases of fire are often heard on television. In a particular shop, there was short circuit, so there was fire. Or something exploded, a gas cylinder exploded and there was fire. The forests catch fire. So there are different cases of fire every year, and thousands of people get badly affected due to it. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. Vast areas of forest are also destroyed, and hundreds of people are killed or injured. Just as three things are needed to start a fire, there are three main ways in which a fire can be put out. That means you can put out fire. Put out means aag bujhana. So three things we have studied which are needed for fire to be burnt or fire to be created. First is fuel, second was oxygen, and third was heat. Now we will see three main ways in which we can put out fire. Underline as I will read. In each one of the three things needed for burning is taken away. In each, that means in the three ways which we will read now, how we can put out fire, one of the three things needed for burning is taken away. That means if you want to put out fire, either you will take away fuel from there, or you will cut off the supply of oxygen from there, or you will remove heat from there. One of the components has to be removed so that fire can be put out. Now let us see. For example, we can take away the fuel. If the fire has no fuel to feed on, no burning can take place. I am giving you a very simple example from our day-to-day lives. Suppose you want to cook food in the kitchen. You want to make a cup of tea in the kitchen. And you don't have cooking gas. Gas cylinder is not there. The fuel is not there. and you switch on the gas stove, you light the matchstick, or you try to use the lighter in the kitchen, and you try to start preparing the cup of tea. Will you be able to make? No. Why? Because the fuel is absent. If the gas cylinder is not there, if the gas is not there, then how fire will start burning? It needs fuel to burn. So it is written here that if you want to put out fire, take away the fuel. If the fire has no fuel to feed on, no burning can take place. We often let a fire die out simply by not adding more fuel to it. If suppose in any place, some place has caught fire, so in order to put out fire, the first thing required is to stop the supply of fuel. Automatically the fire will be put out. The second way of putting out a fire is to prevent oxygen from reaching it. So first way was to stop the supply of fuel in order to put out fire. Second way is to stop the supply of oxygen, because if there is no oxygen, fire will not burn at all. No supply of oxygen means no fire. Small fires can be put out or smothered with a damp blanket or a sack. Sack means bori. Sack is a jute cloth. It is brown in color. So if a small area has caught fire, then you can put out fire by putting a damp blanket on that person or over that area, or you can put a sack. This stops oxygen reaching the burning material. As soon as the damp blanket or a sack is put over that burning area, then the oxygen supply is cut off and fire will stop burning. Sometimes carbon dioxide is used to extinguish fire. You must have seen nowadays in various malls, in big apartments, everywhere you will see there are many fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers are used to put out fire. So sometimes carbon dioxide, which is used in these fire extinguishers, it is required to extinguish fire. It does not allow oxygen to reach the burning material. This carbon dioxide helps in cutting off the supply of oxygen, and when the supply of oxygen is cut off, then automatically fire will stop burning. The third way of putting out a fire is to remove the heat. So first we have seen stop the supply of fuel. Second we have seen stop the supply of oxygen. Thirdly, in order to put out fire, we need to remove heat. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point. What was flash point? That temperature at which a fuel can burn. We have read on the previous page that different fuels need different specific temperature for burning. That temperature is called flash point. So if the temperature is brought down below the flash point, that means the fuel does not get the appropriate temperature for burning. The temperature is less. It is not suitable for that fuel to burn. Then automatically that fuel will stop burning, and if the fuel stops burning, the fire will be put out. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point, the fuel stops burning. You blow on a burning matchstick or a candle to put it out. In doing so, you remove the hot air around the flame, bringing down its temperature below the flash point, and the candle goes out. I had told you to do one experiment. Today, you light a candle and you try to cover that burning candle with a glass, inverted glass, and as soon as you will bring that inverted glass near the candle, you will see that the fire will blow out. Sometimes water is sprayed on fire. This is another way to put out fire. Water is also sprayed when some building catches fire, or any office catches fire, any shop catches fire. Then you will see that fire extinguishers, fire brigades are called. They try to put out fire by spraying lots and lots of water. So water is also sprayed on fire so that it can be put out. Sometimes water is sprayed on a fire. It absorbs heat from the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. Water is used so that it can absorb the heat of the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. When the temperature is lowered, what will happen? The fuel will not get the desired temperature to burn. As a result, fire will stop burning. The blanket of water also cuts off the supply of oxygen and the fire is extinguished. So this is another advantage of using water for extinguishing fire. It will not only lower the temperature, it will not only absorb the heat, but also it will cut off the supply of oxygen, and thus fire will extinguish, or it will no more continue to burn. Some fires cannot be put out with water. Now this paragraph is very important because everywhere you can't use water to put out fire. If there is a fire due to some electric problem, some short circuit, then you will not use water in that case. Please remember this. Some fires cannot be put out with water. If water is sprayed onto an oil fire, suppose there is an area where there is lot of oil refinery, take an example of oil refinery, and that place has caught fire. So in that case, you will not use water. Why you will not use water? Let us see. If water is sprayed on an oil fire, if we will spray water to put out that fire which has been caused in that area where there is lot of oil, then the oil will float to the top of the water and continue to burn. Oil will float on top of the water. That means oil is lighter than water. Oil will float on top of the water and it will continue to burn. So there is no use of using water in this case. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly, carrying the burning oil with it and spreading fire. So not only will oil come on the surface of the water and it will continue to burn, water has a tendency to flow. Water can flow very quickly. So water will flow, along with water oil will also flow, and along with oil that fire will also flow. It will keep on spreading more and more rather than being extinguished. Water should also not be used on fires caused by electrical appliances, as I just told you. If there is any short circuit in your house, or if there is a case of fire due to some short circuit in any electrical appliance, then you will not use water in that case, because if you will use water, then the person who is throwing water can get electric shock and it can be very, very dangerous for his life also. Water should not be used on fires caused by electrical appliances. The person spraying water might receive an electric shock and be killed. A carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to fight an electrical fire. In order to stop that fire which has been caused due to some electrical problem, we have to use fire extinguisher, because it uses carbon dioxide to cut off the supply of fire, and there will be no problem. You can easily cut out that fire by using fire extinguisher. We spend millions of rupees each year in fighting fires. That means in order to prevent people from getting injured in those areas where fire has already spread. Millions of rupees are spread in order to fight fire in those areas, in those places. And we spend more trying to find new ways of preventing fires from happening and getting out of control. Lots of money is also spent to find out how fire can be prevented and how it can be brought under our control, how it can be prevented from getting out of control. On the whole, we have learned rather well to control fire and put it to good use in our everyday life. That means with knowledge, with education, with the development of science and technology, we have learned how to control fire and how to use fire properly. Long ago, there were no firemen. We have firemen nowadays, we have fire brigades, we have fire extinguishers, but earlier this system did not exist. When fire broke out, everybody became a firefighter. People formed human chains. As you can see, children, there is a picture in your book on the same page. People are standing making a human chain and they are passing buckets of water in order to put out fire. When fire broke out, everybody became a firefighter. People formed human chains. They still do if required, and passed buckets of water from a well or a pond to the blaze. To the blaze means to that place where fire broke out. Now there are laws about building construction which ensure that space is left between buildings to reduce the fire risk. Lot of precautions are taken now. When big buildings are constructed, there are laws which the builders have to follow so that there is enough space between two buildings so that the risk of fire breaking out can be reduced. Every new building, especially a public place, must ensure observance of fire prevention norms. As I told you, they have if you go to malls, if you go to the picture halls or cinema halls to see a movie, or you go to newly built apartments, you will find fire extinguishers are placed at regular intervals. They have to follow the fire prevention norms, the rules which are made, so that if in case of any emergency, in case fire breaks out, then it can be prevented, it can be stopped or put out immediately. Bands of firefighting workers with special equipment known as fire brigades are there to put out fires. I have been telling you this. Firefighters are highly trained people. All those people who come in fire brigades, they are firefighters. They are trained people. They know how to put out fire, what to do, what not to do, so that the fire can be put out immediately. Firefighters are highly trained people. They possess many skills. That means they know various methods how to put out fire in a short period of time. They cut off electricity supply, knock down dangerous walls, spray water and other materials to bring fire under control. They know different ways and means how to bring fire under control. They are also trained in first aid, so that they can help people suffering from burns or from the effects of smoke, because smoke is also very, very dangerous. Lots of people die every year due to suffocation which is caused because of this smoke. So the firefighters not only get training to put out fire, they also get training to provide first aid to those people who are either burnt in fire or they are affected due to smoke. The discovery of fire and its uses helped early man to cope with nature better and gradually adopted a settled mode of life. So, since prehistoric times, fire, the discovery of fire has helped man in many ways. He has been able to use nature in a better way, understand nature in a better way, and gradually adopt a settled mode of life. His life became more settled with the invention of fire. Fire is still worshipped in many parts of the world. Fire is considered as God and we worship fire. Agni Devta, you must have heard from your elders, Agni Devta. Fire is indeed a friend, but as we know, it can be a dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. So, I have just told you in the starting that if we don't use fire intelligently, if we misuse fire, we be careless while using fire, then fire can be out of control and it can prove to be very disastrous. People die every year due to outbreak of fire. So fire can be fatal also if not used diligently, if not used intelligently. But at the same time, if we use fire carefully, if we be careful, if we follow the precautions which we must keep in mind while using fire, then there is no problem. Fire is going to be a very faithful servant, a very helpful servant, and it can prove like our friend. Like friends always help us whenever we need them. Similarly, fire can also be our friend if we use fire properly with all precautions in our mind. But if we are even a bit careless, then it can become our enemy. So, this is a very good informative chapter about fire, children. You should try to remember all those things which you have read in this chapter. What all things are needed for fire to burn, what all things are not needed for fire to burn, what you should use to prevent electric fire, what you should not use to prevent electric fire. So many good things, so many important piece of information we have read in this lesson. So this lesson actually you should remember for your practical life also. God forbid if you face any time any fire, then you should immediately try to remember that is it an ordinary fire or is it an electrical fire, and what you should use. Should you use water to put out fire or should you call the fire extinguishers so that they can use carbon dioxide to extinguish fire. Okay, so read the chapter carefully. Remember these things because this is a lesson for life. This is not only a lesson which you have to prepare for the exam, but it is an informative